Welcome back to the Low APM Challenge, your best way to learn how to play smarter and not harder in StarCraft 2 as we move into the new season, Season 2 of 2022. Yes, many of the ranks are still a bit of a mess. Yes, it is more difficult than ever to play the hardest 1v1 game in the world. Yes, your friends are still playing other more casual games that make them hate themselves. But I don't mean to call out all MOBA players. But you, my friend, have made it this far in the Low APM Challenge. Last season, we made it up to, I believe, Diamond, give or take. And that means we're going to be combining all the efforts that we learned through Platinum. We're not throwing all these out, but instead learning to apply them a little bit better. Today, in Diamond, mostly we're going to be focusing on actual counters. Yes, Ghosts, Vikings, those things that are difficult to control, but are such force multipliers they can't be ignored. As well as when multitasking is important, basic benchmarks, stuff like that. You know, the usual, the buzzwords. Benchmarks, counters, etc., etc. We're looking at 100 APMs, and of course, if you're watching live, every 5 APM I go over, I gift a sub to the people, so I pay for it, just like Jester of Flesh did. So, hopefully, you smash that like button before you fall asleep, and you enjoy this next episode of the Low APM Challenge. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Let's jump into it. First things first, new maps-ish. Actually, I think we may have done an episode on the new maps. We'll go over it again. You're a Terran player, so Data C is the macro map. All the bases expand away from each other, relatively long rush distance. This is your 40-minute game map. I don't think it's necessarily bad for Terran. Honestly, the map I'd veto if I were you, and I'm trying to focus more on macro, is Waterfall. It's just such a rush distance, tiny rush distance. It's a bit of a pain to deal with, even though Terrans can take advantage of it. So, past that, it's a bit of a dealer's choice situation. If you don't like those very long, drawn-out games, probably veto Data C. I'm not a big fan, personally, of Inside and Out. It's kind of like Waterfall, and you have those shorter, more rush-oriented games. And then you have Moondance and Stargazers, both of which have pocket bases. But in my opinion, this benefits Terran most of the time, because you have medevacs, you have tanks, you have all these things that can take advantage of it. You just got to be cognizant of those pocket bases existing on Stargazers and Moondance. For now, I'm going to go ahead and let's go ahead and veto Moondance. But we're going to leave Stargazers open. Just make it a little interesting. And so, a lot of players wonder like if they're playing certain matchups more often. If you veto certain maps, like for example, a lot of Zerg players will veto those pocket-based maps. If you find yourself hitting a lot of Terran or Protoss, maybe change up your vetoes, because while you can technically get a map that you vetoed, it's very unlikely. So it might feel like you are facing a bunch of Protoss or a bunch of Terran. You can kind of manipulate that by intentionally vetoing maps that Terran and Protoss like. And that, of course, will leave you with maps that Terran and Protoss don't like as much overall, but that can kind of manipulate your matchups a little bit. So just maybe something to consider. I think a lot of people don't really think about that when it comes to the latter. Like, it can feel like you're just playing a certain matchup all day, and part of that does come down to like for example, a lot of players will veto, like a lot of Zerg players will veto Moondance just right off the bat. It's just not a fun Zerg map to play because Terran and Protoss get essentially a free third, whereas it doesn't benefit Zerg that much. So, whereas larger maps or rush maps like Waterfall might be the other way around. We'll have to see, though. I don't think it's a huge difference, but it can make a difference. Terran versus Terran. We're going to be doing, and now that we're, well, I don't know if we're going to place into Diamond, but we're going to be close. Either way, we're going to focus on actually high-level builds now.
You got
this. He's like, you know what? We'll give him the fun. We'll give him the fun. Okay, what a nice guy. He only included luck to start. But I'm going to be doing essentially the same build I do at Master's level. It doesn't need to be aggressive. It's 3 Reapers and 2 Hellions. This means we're going to be getting 2 gas early on. Setting up camera locations. 2 gas early on, but we're not necessarily going to be mining with all 3 in gas the whole time. After I get my factory, I'm going to pull a couple out of gas to be able to expand more quickly. And against Terran, if you're going to SCV scout, you got to do it kind of early. Otherwise, they either might wall off or might just have units. So that means SCV scout on 17 instead of 18. Second refinery is on 18 as well, even before the first one's finishing. Because the idea here is we get Reaper production, and then as quick as possible, a factory behind. Now, you can probably get away with a 1 Rax expand most of the time. I think it's a good habit to get into, is doing the more tech-oriented openers, because essentially the higher up you go, the more tech-heavy Terran versus Terran is. Like, the more people will try to manipulate. Alright, so get that orbital. He did wall off to try to hide this, and then he let the SCV in, which shows me he's got 2 Rax in his base. And there's a non-zero chance he has another Rax on the map. But they're going to put this SCV in that back corner. And my build should be well enough equipped to deal with this. The Reaper comes out in a moment. So the big difference I'm going to make at this stage is I want to expand, but he's going to have probably 2 Rax Reaper. So instead of expanding on the low ground, we're just going to expand on the high ground. Which I usually am not a fan of, but you know what? You can actually put an expo right there. Which can wall off the Reapers from that angle, though is vulnerable. Once I have the Hellions can trade, like, they keep the Reapers from building up to that critical mass. And I get both. That's actually a huge win for me. He agrees. And that is why having a solid build is important. Looks like we're starting at Platinum, but near the very edge. Despite his 219 actions per minute, my 71. Honestly, there were only about 2 actions that mattered in that match. One was the decision to build a second Rax, and the second was the decision to letting my SCV in to see it. So. Oh yeah, another key point. Actually, you pointed out Swanee in the chat, but not exactly the key point. So I put the second depot at the cliff, not at the ramp, because walling off against Terran doesn't do very much. They have Reapers, they have Hellions. The only melee unit is the SCV. So the key is having vision. Like, my Reapers weren't standing necessarily near the cliff, but having that extra vision and even potentially drawing some shots is a huge difference maker. Most top Terrans do not wall the ramp. They instead wall for vision, so that or build depots for vision, so that way they can see stuff like the Reapers. It's the same guy. I'm gonna do the same opener. Like, I may scout a little earlier. I'm kind of surprised he just queued up again immediately, but is he gonna give me the GLHF again, or maybe no fun this time?
Don't panic. Okay, maybe a little panic.
Would it be safer to keep the first 2 buildings? Is it there a good reason to build the wall at your ramp? You still want the option. Like, if it's a proxy Rax, you might want to build a bunker on the top of the ramp. The idea is to kind of zone them out. It's not so much you can actually keep them out, it's just to make it too painful to get in, is the intent. You're playing zone defense against Terran, mostly. Though there are some maps where you don't want to, like, this, arguably, I don't want to build at the ramp, because if he does a tank push, then it's not unlikely he can hit some of the buildings at the ramp. We've seen that before. Berlingrad was one of the old maps that was notorious for. And depending on which side of the map you're on, your add-ons can be vulnerable as well. Which is sometimes good, sometimes bad, depending on who you are. Like, at the pro level, sometimes builds will revolve around whether or not you can hit the add-ons. Like, it's actually to a pretty decent extent. Some all-ins are, especially like Ravager all-ins, revolve around whether or not the add-on will be vulnerable or not. Alright, he's got 1 gas, and that means we don't need to worry about anything, essentially. 1 gas means he's going 1 Rax expand. I'm going to pull off of gas here. He's decided to build.
Better than ever.
I'm going to get my factory before a command center, just to be clear, but...
Forces under attack. The boys are next.
We're going to assume he has another command center. If he really bamboozled me, maybe he has something like on the low ground, like a barracks hidden or something, but I don't think so. Command center building. I got that camera location. Something to note here is there is no ramp to this CC, so I have no like first shot advantage if he has multiple Reapers. Target fire. If we can kill 1, that's kind of a huge deal. Got it. Oh, he did. That cheeky devil. We're gonna have to pull back. I got the Hellion in a moment. I think I win that. Yeah, so he did proxy, but I need to repair this Hellion. And I may end up having to cancel this command center because it's just going to get too painful to hold. And we're going to go for a Banshee. Just 1 Banshee, because his anti-air should be relatively limited. But, yeah, I need to get unsupply block. This should be enough to hold. I'm going to get another tech lab as well. 2 Hellions at a lot. I know I say Banshees are not great, but in this scenario, when something you might just need a little bit more, make sure we group up before this counter. Everything at home looking okay. We're gonna send the Reapers in and just run the Hellions away.
Your add-on is all done.
Let's see. Starport.
Command center upgrade.
He has nothing else there.
Your army is under attack.
Let's run out. He got both, which is unfortunate, but... So he's expanding, and he has less tech than me. And he built a Hellion, which means my Banshee shouldn't have to worry about much. I'm actually going to get a 3rd command center. Going to get a bunker at the front. Huh. Well, that's interesting. Alright then. I gotta queue this up. The Banshee is enough. So let's see. Where did he put it? He must have put it like right here. I shouldn't have taken his word. Like I said, there's a chance. Thing is, you don't want to pre-counter. Like, you can't read into too much. The point of the build I'm doing is even if you don't scout, you still have most of the tools you need to defend. Like, you still have enough units to defend against everything but the most committed all-ins. And this is not a committed all-in. It's only 2 Rexes. So you have the Reapers and Hellions. You might lose an SCV or 2. But that's why you go for the 2 gas and the quicker factory, is to have options against both anything early and the follow-up. Let's see. 97? That was a little dicier. That was a little more micro-oriented. We're gonna give him a moment, though, to terrorize someone else on the ladder. I'd like some... While TVT is important to learn, a lot of players really don't like the mirror matchups. Overall, it is the simplest, I think, because it's the same opener most of the time. Like, it is the most on paper matchup. It's the most, like, you know exactly what to do right off the bat, because they can only build the same units you can. So, at the end of the day, and that's the struggle. Remember, there is no pick ban face in SC2. There is no, like, I've decided I'm going to build Vikings, so you can't build Vikings. It doesn't work like that. If you were willing to form good habits, which race would you recommend climbing with? The one you like the most. Originally, people told me Terran was the best in SC2.
Another game of StarCraft.
When I started out, beginning Wings of Liberty. And it was true. It was. 50% of GSL games were won by Terran. It was actually pretty broken. But for a Silver Leaguer, did that matter? No. After a few months, I switched to Zerg and I got demoted. But I liked Zerg a lot more at the time. Now I like all 3, but I was much more motivated when I was playing Zerg. After Fruit Dealer, it's important to have representation. After Fruit Dealer won the first GSL against all odds against a Terran player as Zerg, despite Zerg being only like 20% of the tournament. I was like, you know what? Maybe Zerg can win.
This is an alert.
Thank you, Breath.
Breath 20 is now
SC2
silly.
replay stats, the
GG.
basis of all this. Breath runs SC2 replay stats. Thanklessly, with just a bunch of complaints about how it doesn't work and most people who could use it the most not using it. But pretty much all this is how you improve is based off of just use SC2 replay stats, so lies, it works fine. No, but if like there is a specific issue that's mostly an issue between the chair and the keyboard, you're expected to solve it, is what I mean more. It does work great. It is my recommendation for anyone who actually wants to improve, as we usually go over at the end of almost every episode. Yeah, but there is no... the best race for anyone learning is whatever you like the most. If you're trying to chase, like, pros, and you're just starting out, you're already starting out. Like, you're trying to start out on the right foot when you can't even crawl. So, maybe play to enjoy it. I know, it's hard for me to take my own advice on that. It's very hard for me to enjoy games anymore. Like, competitive or otherwise. I can't play games casually because I played StarCraft for 12 years. So let my sacrifice not be yours, alright? Learn from me. Actually try to enjoy the game. Have fun. And then when you want to get good, stop having fun and buckle down. I know. So I didn't SCV scout, but he did, which usually makes me feel more comfortable because you usually don't SCV scout if you're doing something extra cheesy, which I know is a little backwards logic, but because you want every one of those fancy minerals. I meant to SCV scout, I just kind of forgot. So I'm gonna get one more depot on the edge over here because, yeah, Stargazers is a map that a lot of Zergs veto and a lot of Protoss as well. Probably not as many Protoss, but close. Which is why I think we've gotten 3 TVTs in a row on. Or, you know, coincidence as well. I've got 3 Reapers and 2 Hellions, and I haven't scouted, so we're going across the map. Start a Raven. And get that second gas. Gas is at an absolute premium in TVT. Let's see. He doesn't have any Marines in the bunker, awkwardly here. The fact he had a Marine at all is a little bit of a tell. That's a lot of... Whoa, 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 okay. Maybe we can damage the bunker, but... I'm gonna need a bunker of my own. Gonna put 1 Hellion at the watchtower. Move these back. Send the Raven out. Get some Vikings. And Barracks 2 and 3. As well as a siege tank. I'm gonna put a Reaper out in front. Because this... Like that bunker, I'm not sure. Does he have the back base here? He hasn't mined it. He's, yeah, well. We're already here. I'm just gonna set up an auto turret. Looks like another big all-in we're looking at. Yeah, he went 3 Rex, so. I need that tank to be in a nice location. Need another tank as soon as possible. Let's see if he expanded. He didn't. He was faking it. Try to target fire here. I'm gonna drop supply depots. That was a pretty decent sized mistake there. Barracks 4 and an engineering bay. And I'm keeping those SCVs out in front. We're gonna patrol the Vikings. Yeah. Some depots just to help wall as well. Usually you don't wall, like you're not too worried about walling off against Terran, but...
Mineral patch is gone, and it's not coming back.
The threat at some point is medevacs. +1 infantry weapons. So I'm gonna have a Cyclone patrolling over here. Oops. We see he doesn't have that front base, so that's important to know. Gonna get a 5th Rex and a 2nd NG Bay here. I'm gonna poke the Hellion out because there's a chance of like a hidden gold base. But we want 5 Rexes, a factory, and a reactored starport. So that's what we're working on here. Let's see. He doesn't have a base there, so it looks like he's gonna just... I'm gonna start rallying into the main. We're gonna have a tank sieged up there.
You took research?
Because I think his follow-up plan is to drop the back of the base. That's pretty much all he has. If he doesn't have any other expand, which he doesn't. Just gonna have a tank up there. Bring the medevacs up.
It actually worked this time.
Or that. Or he just attacks. We did it! So we successfully defended 3 barracks all-ins. Nice APM. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna open up. We're gonna veto Stargazers instead of Inside and Out. I like Stargazers more though, but I'm trying to minimize the amount of Terrans. Well, I'm vetoing the pocket-based maps. Terrans are the most obvious choices. I actually think pocket bases are great. Like Protoss can definitely take advantage of them as well. And it's a bit anecdotal. It's only been 3 games, but we'll see. The thing about map vetoes is a good placebo effect as well. It feels like you have control over your life, even though it is very unlikely to change much dramatically. It's a Terran. All right.
I'm sure this one will be better.
I'm sure this one will be better. Well, this is Diamond, though. Diamond is... I don't think it is significantly Terran, like, in terms of population, but... there are a lot of Terrans who are convinced they understand the game at a Grandmaster level, but are just held back by Protoss and Zerg. And then they just end up facing each other all day. That is my completely quantitative experience. We're gonna scout on 17th SCV. I mean, so far, most Terrans have done their best to make sure the game was... We haven't even seen an enemy... I have yet to see an enemy starport unit in 3 games. So, maybe this is it. We're on Data C, which is the macro map. So, just the time it takes the SCV to get across, though. Reapers and Hellions are obviously quicker. The Reaper Cliff back there. It's proxy Rax. Alright. Amazing. Bunker on the Reaper Cliff. Factory in a safe location. Pull 2 off gas. Another bunker. The question is, how much? I need to pull a few SCVs with me. Actually, not there. I'm pretty sure I can wall this here. I've never really tried it, but...
I've never seen this screen before.
No. There we are. Yeah. Lessons learned. So, I mean, if this is the way to get through Diamond, well, I feel like I'm giving a pretty... usually, I don't like to teach like a textbook, okay? Because that's not how I learn. I don't learn by saying, like, first you put in this exact location, now copy this down, no. It's more like you're looking for specific things, and you kind of formulate a response, and there's no barracks in his base, so we need to build a bunker, and then... depending on how many Reapers he has, we follow up with factory units. This is pretty cut and dry here so far. So it also allows me to keep that APM low, as even though micro looks flashy and like a lot of APM, so I tested it. I tested it beforehand. I didn't think it'd be the ideal thing to have in the episode. But I tested how much APM it is for me to, without an opponent, just sit there and literally just max out. Okay? And just try not to skip anything. Try to build every SCV, build every unit, but do almost no control at all of those units. In order to max out in a timely manner without skipping anything, it was 76 APM. So, that's with no micro at all. That's about the baseline. So anything that leaves me a full 24 APM with which to control my units. Which is, I mean, sounds like not very much, but is about as much as you should need, ideally. Of course, everything before that. The thing is, like, think about it. You have 3 command centers. You're building 5 SCVs per minute per command center. They're 12 seconds apiece. So, there you go. That's already 15. I can build 15 more Marines. Boom, there you go. One might give away a proxy Rax. Your opponent is diamond below and playing Terran or scouting. Another Terran. You know, scouting also exists. And has been paying off.
Oh, here we go again.
Oh, here we go again. I guess this is quite a speed run so far. So, I was afraid, like, I'm trying to get 10 games in, and in the recent episodes, I haven't been able to play 10 games, because usually, the average game, I would say, is like 10, 12 minutes. Probably a little bit longer at the lower leagues. And that's backed up by most statistics. But we are well under that average. So far today. I don't think we've even reached 10 minutes. But not even half that in some of the games, so. Alright, send that scout out. Let me see how valuable it is. But this is this is the biggest frustration for the higher Meta League players, I feel. Is feeling like you can't do your build because they cheesed you, right? And I don't lie, I know a lot of you either explicitly or implicitly think that. It's part of the game. You gotta be able to survive it. And let's be honest, it's the most satisfying thing to just slap these things down. As you know how frustrated they get. It looks like we have the first player who is not clearly doing a barracks cheese. So, his second gas is a little later. I think he's going for an expand relatively early. I'm actually going to hide the SCV
CC
in this
upgrade,
corner.
But at what cost?
I don't... More important to me than keeping the SCV alive is knowing whether or not he's expanding. Like, that is the most important thing.
The enemy engaged your forces.
He looked for it. Keeping the Reaper right where it should get that first shot advantage. This SCV does not need to be down here. I can't.
Your base is under assault.
Now we're in great shape. Why? I have at least a 1 Reaper advantage, unless he did proxy Rex. But even then, it should be even. So, I go across the map. And I make sure I'm not slipping on anything at home. We're just going to put back into gas. He doesn't have the expo there. I'm going to stop for a sec. Alright, make sure I have a depot. I'll be ready to move back. So he has a Widow Mine, which is not really the most dangerous choice here. It's a little weird. Like, he should, based on everything I've seen so far, have an expansion. So, a Widow Mine drop against Terran does not do very much. He wants to expand.
Add-on is good to go.
Alright. We're gonna get a Raven.
Your add-on is all done.
And we're gonna
Army
leave.
under attack. Stim to win. Your command center? Better than ever.
Oh, a Liberator. That's good to know. We see he's expanding. Oh, that Widow Mine. But that might give me a chance to come back in. So between my Raven, which I'm going to send over here. Okay. Fall back, fall back. And we got the lock on. That's why we get the Cyclone early. The Cyclone is your good multi-purpose defense. There's no way he has something he can just attack with right now. Did I never... Oh, I got the Raven. Alright. Let's get the gases. Barracks 2 and 3. Engineering Bay. We're gonna flip this over to get some Vikings. I'm gonna go ahead and patrol that Cyclone. I expect a Widow Mine drop, but... honestly, a Widow Mine drop is not that threatening, even if I don't block it. So, we're sending the Raven out, and then we're going to drop 2 auto turrets, and then just move on with my life, is the plan. +1, stim. Depots. Cute, like, we're making sure all the hotkeys are set up on my production. Sending out a Reaper and a Hellion and some Marines to kind of zone out. Add Reactor, Reactor, Control F1, Idle Workers, 3rd Command Center, Raven, Turret, out. See, he's going Mech, which means start Marauders. He has multiple factories. Let's see how many kills. The Raven got 8 kills. It's pretty good. 2nd Engineering Bay.
Add-on complete.
Usually I just make Marines. Marines are just better. And Marine tank versus Marine tank. Marauders don't have the DPS to supply ratio. And they're more vulnerable to the tanks. It's rarely the other way around.
Forces under attack. The boys are next.
Banshee. Multiple Banshees. Which means we'll add some more Vikings. I'm gonna go ahead and get a couple zoning turrets here. And drop a supply
You engage
depot.
the enemy. On purpose? Your research is complete.
Armory. Barracks 4 and 5.
Mineral patch is gone. It's not coming back.
Auto turret.
Upgrade completed. Your forces are just a little bit better.
Gonna drop on the tank.
A mineral field has been depleted.
He messed up his control groups there, but So now that I've won the fight, I can't just go... This is not a scenario to just go across the map for me. Not if I'm not confident in my micro. So... And by confident, I mean low APM.
CC upgrade
Combat
done.
shield.
You
Because
remember
right
this
now,
time?
I still have a
Wow.
lot of stuff like that hasn't come together. I now have map control. But I've got that third base I want up. We're also going to put a bunker at it. Another liberator. So he's just... These are all like time buying things, essentially.
Mind out of that cluster.
That he
And
wants
still
to
in
do.
the game? Nice.
I'm gonna set a rally point out in front. Another
The
one
enemy
more tech
engaged
lab,
your
2 tech
forces.
labs,
You're
3
all mined out of
reactors.
that mineral field. Upgrade complete. But at what cost?
More depots. Make sure I don't slack on the tanks, even though he's the one going mech. One more on the turrets. Put 1 Marauder and 2 Marines in the bunker.
Head on, finish.
Alright, he's taking that
Big
base.
army
If
under
he doesn't
attack,
have this
stim
one,
to win.
yeah, we have a distinct advantage. Concussive shells.
Research all done.
Get another factory. I'm getting the mech weapons upgrades. Because even though he's going mech, doesn't mean I can't compete on the tank count. Slap another base down. You know what? We'll get a command center on both sides. Part of the advantage is he's going to feel the need to be quite defensive. My Raven will have enough for either
Upgrade's
a
been
couple
completed.
interference matrices or
Your
anti-armor
research is
missiles.
complete.
+2 mech. Get that second factory. I'm also going to get a second starport, because the way to truly beat mech is with air control.
Upgrade completed. Your forces are just a little bit better.
We got +2 weapons.
This is an alert.
Your add-on is all done.
Smile is now chilly. Still enjoy.
Get rid of that.
07.
It looks like we're mostly clear to go this way, so I'm going to use that as a staging area. Make sure we have some tanks queued up. Gonna get turrets here and the gas.
Forces under attack. The boys are next.
Gonna split a little.
Mineral field
We used interference matrix on those
Upgrade
first
complete.
units.
But at what cost?
Move the tanks up. I'm actually gonna do some fancy footworks here. Just drop in here. Make sure I'm still building tanks.
Your army is under attack.
Production back at home. Planetary. Can pick up.
GG.
I was gonna drop on it again. Here, just a few tips for drops. D-click on the medevacs.
Your
I do
upgrade
have
is
a whole tutorial on all the details, but some very simple ones.
CC upgrade.
D-click
But at what cost?
on the medevacs. The unload key by default
You took all the
is
minerals
how you
from
drop
that
while
cluster,
moving.
Pete.
You can also queue up the drops
Add-on
if
is
you'd
good to
like.
go. Mineral patch
Now,
is gone,
I wouldn't get too
and it's not
fancy,
coming
but
back.
since I was in a clearly good position, And then, of course, the best way to pick up is just grab everything and click on the medevac you want to load into. Is the quickest way. Did we go over on that one? Ruined! It might have been a little too fancy. I don't think we necessarily needed all that fancy micro, but... And also the supply block was pretty rough. That means 2 subs to the people, though. So, lucky you. It's September. Congratulations. I did debate, like, well, if I have less than my opponent, that's still fine. No. It's a matter of principle. It's not beating my opponent. It's just generally getting better.
Gifted 2 subs to viewers.
How generous. And that is what we're trying to do. I think that was a pretty solid game for dealing with. Well, he tried to he tried some. You need air control with Mech. If you're gonna play Mech, you gotta have more Vikings. Otherwise, it becomes very awkward. You don't really have any built-in anti-air like Marines. So, oh my God, is that a not Terran? They exist.
You got this.
It's a Protoss. Give him the business. So we're gonna do. I think we're gonna open up with a Widowmine drop into just standard bio. Widowmine drop is the extent of the fanciness, but can be incredibly effective if they're even a split second too slow, and it helps with those drop mechanics. Now, personally, caveat here, I don't like Widowmines. I think they're dumb and stupid, but they also have won the GSL championship. Shout out to Cure. So. And they're the same Widowmines that beat Zest not too many months ago. So we're gonna use it. The most dangerous creature, a probe. I am gonna 1 Rax expand, but I am scouting as well, of course. I like making a Marine first, not a Reaper. Against Protoss, it feels like you're setting your tech too far back. And microing against Protoss is definitely more difficult than Zerg, as they can chase you back across the map many times.
CC upgrade done. You remember this guy?
So he didn't have a second gas. He did expand, and he did get a cyber core before he got his expand. So what does that add up to mean? That means he could have some units early, but it's unlikely he'll have too much tech behind it. So I'm gonna get a bunker, put it right in the center with 2 spaces on either side to build depots. The first unit can come across at about 3 minutes. So that is the next thing to worry about. Especially if it's an adept, it can get there right at that. Maybe even a little before, depending on how adamant he is about it. But 3 Marines can kill an adept, and this should be the pathing it takes. So if he was to send a unit across. Nothing there. For now. We'll try this side. Nothing. Alright.
CC upgrade done. You remembered.
We're just gonna keep the Whittle Mines tucked into the main. Make sure I got depots, mostly scouting depots here. That's for oracles. I'm gonna send a marine out on either side just to get vision. These are not for killing any early units now. Engineering bay as part of the wall. I don't know what that was. I saw something. It was a throat. Barracks 2 and 3. I'm gonna complete the wall. We now have 3 mines. Tech labs for everyone here. That isn't a real Phoenix. +1.
Add-on complete.
Gonna flip these over.
The enemy is attacking your base.
Get a turret at the front. Start a tank. He doesn't have this base. In fact, I'm just gonna drop a Widow Mine there. Put the... He has a starport or stargate. Ooh. Unfortunate.
You
He
engage
does
the
that.
enemy.
Wait, was that a
On
real
purpose?
Phoenix then? Either way, we're gonna get more barracks. He doesn't have a third, so
Add-on finished
that's
up.
the relevant point here.
That one. Your add-on has been constructed.
We can get our own third. I'm gonna need a couple turrets here because that's actually real Phoenixes. Just a little on the late side. I have Whittle Mines burrowed. But since we know he's going for a lot of tech that isn't splash damage, and he doesn't have a third Nexus, I'm in no hurry here.
The enemy engaged
I just
your
need to build the
forces.
right army. Which is going to be essentially just bio and medevacs at this stage. And not supply bomb.
Army under attack. Stim to win.
That is quite
Upgrade
a
is all
supply
done.
bomb. +1
This is an
armor.
alert.
Blueby the Snoo is now chilling.
Maybe Bloopy. Once these 2 medevacs come out, we'll have combat shield. We already have +1 attack.
Your add-on is
In
all
fact,
done.
I'm gonna start adding basic things over here. Even if I don't end up using
Researchers,
that.
you engage the enemy. On purpose? Add-on finished up. You picked that one?
I'm gonna get an armory as well momentarily. Got all this going on. Concussive,
Research complete.
orbital.
Have we learned anything?
Make sure, very important, I'm actually just gonna queue up a bunch of Marines here. Let's see. He's taking this base, but I think the biggest advantage will be if he doesn't see it coming, so.
Mineral field depleted.
Just
Command center upgrade.
sitting over to that side. I'm gonna take my third during all this.
Research.
Make sure those tanks are sieged.
Find out of that cluster. And still in the game? Nice.
Sea of Storm. He's thinking about it. Going into the main.
You're all mined out of that mineral field. Your army is under attack.
He went for a whole... Well, he went straight to Templar. So he went every direction but towards, like, units. So... that isn't the ideal. Is he... not embarrassing enough? Alright, well, this army should help. Did we get an armory? I did not.
A mineral field has
I'm
been
pretty sure I blocked my
Forces under
CC
attack.
with the
Minerals from that cluster.
attempted missile turret there, but that should be okay.
You're all mined out of that mineral field.
A and click.
Mined out of that cluster. And still in the game? Nice.
GG.
This is an alert.
Race Shows is now
Now
chilling.
that's the commander I've been
Thank you, Rose. But the Widow Mines undercut that whole early game. And another benefit of the Widow Mine drop is it usually lets you know what he's doing if you haven't figured it out yet. Because you're getting into his base, right? So that ends up having double benefit there. Well, we found a Protoss. Show us Ghost against Toss. Well, you don't need Ghosts. If it had been closer, if that first attack had not either been successful or had a chance at success, the next choice would have been Ghosts. In fact, if I was in like a tournament match, I should have been building the Ghost Academy the moment I saw the Templar. Or before, because I could have afforded it, but... But we didn't quite get there, so... How to move Ghosts. Very carefully. Is the key. That's the hard part. There are two methods. One is hotkeying independently. Two is getting used to tabbing. Between your Ghosts and your bio. And that definitely is harder to get used to, but... I personally like to just hotkey the Ghosts on 3, as opposed to anything else. But well, the another high flying Terran there. We managed to keep it below 100 APM, believe it or not. So. Having Ghosts in my main control group keeps me from overstimming. I mean, the risk is not stimmy at all. So, though sometimes that is better. A Terran. Can you believe it?
Welcome back to Broadsley. Another game of StarCraft.
So, like 8 TVTs and a Protoss. It's been quite a day so far. The Zergs are all either stuck in Platinum or busy in Grandmaster. That's definitely a science statistics fact based on everything we've seen so far. Let's get that scout out. I'm excited to defend another proxy Rex, which has been the order of the day. forgot my second gas. Okay, focus up. The second gas still important. Everything a little slow on this one. Don't judge me. So I think he's going 2 Rex. So first thing, he's not building out of the first Rex. He just started building. So he blocked me off, and then he built the second Rex. If you're going to wall off the scout, I recommend not building your second building in range of vision of the ramp.
Your command center? Better than ever.
Just pro tip. I am gonna get an expo here. I'm gonna send that SCV back around because I don't know how he's gonna. He might have another. He might have a third Rex in there. But we're gonna get a second command center. But we're getting it nice and tucked in, so we don't have to deal with anything too untoward here. At least hopefully. I'm sending this SCV back. Take a look around. I guess there's a chance he goes for a different barracks timing, like Marauders with concussive. Occasionally someone decides to get creative with stuff like that. For vision. Get a tech lab there.
The enemy engaged your forces.
Those are Marines, which is interesting call.
Add-on is good to go.
If he has Reapers, this should be enough to deal with them. Getting a Raven, tech lab here. Because if he built 2 Marines, yeah, that's an odd choice. What did he see?
Your CC is now a BCC, a better command center. Add-on complete.
It's literally just Marines. Okay, well, it hurt. This was the dumbest one, but also the most creative we've seen today, I guess. Of a varied level of barracks elements. The SCV mineral walk plus, well, everything else. The scan kind of gave away the timing. He wanted to move up the ramp. There's not much of a follow-up to this that isn't more Marines, so... We're gonna get another tank. Looks like that's a 3rd CC. A Ghost Academy. A crazy guy. Alright, alright. I'm going.
You picked that one? Mineral field depleted.
He doesn't have stim. He doesn't have combat shield. We're gonna move this over.
Mineral patch is gone. And it's
Transfer a
not
bunch
coming
of SCVs.
back. A mineral field has been depleted. Your army is under attack. Is attacking your
Are
base.
you? What are you doing? This is a campaign mission?
Your add-on is all done.
Feels like one so far. Alright, well. Nuke Rush. I'm not sure doing a 3 Rax all-in and expanding at the 7-minute mark really qualifies as a rush. But I'm also not in Twitch chat, so...
You engage the enemy. On purpose? CC upgrade done. You remembered. Army under attack. Research finished, but I'm still waiting on high-sec auto tracking.
Interference matrix. There's another tank. Interference matrix.
You're all mined out of that one. Upgrades finished up.
All right. Auto turret. Oh wait, he has another one. I'm gonna chill in his natural for a while because see how he likes it. It was an awkward start for me. I did a TVP build to start, but that's why we're still building during everything.
Forces under attack. The boys are next.
Oh, he's gonna get it. I did get everything else, though. I got his orbital before. I already got the armory done. More barracks, please.
The enemy engaged your forces.
We're gonna set these up on the corner and then drop the rest in.
You engage the enemy. On purpose? Research all done.
More dropping on tanks.
Your army is under attack. Upgrade is all done.
This is an alert.
Snack Hojo is now chilling. Still the best pre-bed music I have been able to find.
What are we doing out here? All right.
It actually worked this time.
That was certainly something. We have yet to. We had 1 out of 7 TVTs not be a barracks helmet. So, if you are a Diamond Terran, you either are part of the problem or need to understand how to deal with it. I didn't expect it to just be like he just built a bunch of Marines. All he did was sit there and build like it is in its simplicity, it is beautiful and also dumb. But like yeah, that definitely was the almost rolled over into the it's so dumb it works. Cuz I didn't even wall. If I walled off like a normie, the Marines would have had to go through a depot in order to get into the main, which would have made it... I kind of want to watch that replay. On the bright side, replays are posted in the chat after each time, after each game, and in the description below. So, but actually, in hopefully to break it up a little bit, just time for a quick advertisement. And then we'll play some more games and hoping for maybe at least one Zerg out there. But thank you guys for watching. Just a quick ad till we get back to... Jimmy, where are my ads? Why did you break them? Jimmy broke my ads. You know it's September though, guys. You know what's important to remember in September? Do you remember? Hey everybody, I'm Winter, and did you know this September you can get a small discount on some subs? And also, if you like and subscribe on YouTube, you can maybe even see some more of my videos that you enjoy. So that's great. That's a good time. Yeah, check it out. That's it. That's all we got. Thank you guys for sticking around. Jimmy, I'm sure we'll fix any sort of technical difficulties we have.
This is an alert.
Race has gifted 5 subs to viewers.
Thank you, Race. I'm gonna get some more water. Be right back. We'll edit this part out in the video, I'm sure. And then when I get back, I'm going to spend a couple minutes explaining one of these 2 very important things that also sound like
this is an alert.
Something for middle managers to be mediocre at. Be right back, one moment.
Son of a gingerly I met.
This is an alert.
The underscore Fluffles is now chilling.
This is an alert.
Smack Hojo has gifted 5 subs to viewers.
Production timing. Okay, so a lot of players, especially in Diamond, think they know when to get their second and third racks. But I think it's important to tie it in not so much with like an exact build order or like what number is on the supply, but instead what's going on in the game. So in TVT and in other matchups, it's usually once you're building out of your barracks, your factory, and your starport, your 1-1-1 opener, which you're going for 90% of the time now. Once you're comfortably building, like you've already started a Viking or a Raven, you have a siege tank on the way, you're building 2 Marines, and you got SCVs, that's usually around 30 to 35 SCVs. So now, it's not always that, but around 30 to 35 SCVs, you should have the minerals for 2 more racks. And if you don't, why? Did you not drop mules? Did you build too many depots? Did you queue up units? You should be able to, by at least the 4-minute mark, think about building those second and third racks. If you're going mech, it's more like 35 SCVs, and once you get your third and fourth gas, because factories are more expensive, but it's still something very much important you don't queue up when you're going mech, because otherwise you're going to be behind on that. And that's even worse than bio most of the time. So I think hitting that production timing is what allows people to have so many units going into like the first 2 medevac push or something like that, and is one of the big parts where Diamond players just drop the ball. They will get the barracks 2 and 3, but they won't always be on time because either other parts of the build or they're busy microing. And if you're busy microing, like say Hellion Reaper, you might technically have your barracks on the right supply. You just didn't build anything for 30 seconds. And then you built your barracks on the right supply, but that's not the right time. Even if it's the right number, it's not the right time. You got to tie it in with the other things and get it as soon as possible. And that's something I think 90% of Diamond players could do better. And hopefully that was concise enough. Yeah, that is why, especially Big Gabe is someone to watch. He always just has so many units. It's because he never misses those production timings. Because for Terran, it takes a while to pay off as well. Like you need a barracks, and then usually you need like a reactor.
I'm sure this.
So you're already at least a minute until you build your first unit out of those buildings. So another 30 seconds is at least 4-6 more Marines potentially.
No Knights is gifted 1 sub to viewers.
PvP. We're gonna go with that Widowmine drop. BC Rush for the win.
This is an alert.
Maybe
Wonder
against
13
Zerg.
has gifted 1 sub to viewers.
Potentially that can be something that wins, yes. Unfortunately, against Protoss and Terran, any competent player should already have the units to counter it before it can even get there. And even without scouting
This is an
it.
alert.
Thank you.
Andromeda Fallen has
The
gifted
scam
1
train
sub to
continuing.
viewers.
Glad you guys enjoy. You see the probe. Go greet it. Welcome. And now respectfully, sir, fuck off. Politely yet firmly ask it to leave. No second guess. Do a little micro here. Every Terran knows how to
CC
do that
upgrade
micro.
done. You remember this time? Wow.
It's worth it to kill the probe, especially. Just to make them salty, if nothing else. Making Protoss players unhappy is half the reason to play Terran. Let's be honest here.
Add-on is good to go.
The scouting SCV usually gets back in time to build a bunker. I wouldn't rely on it, but it can be helpful. Remember, around 3 minutes is when we're likely to see a gateway unit go up and say hello. Usually an adept, not always, but it's the most likely. If we don't see anything, that's when things get a little sus. Hello.
Your CC is now BCC, a better command center.
Thank you. No, he wasn't looking. So. I've got one depot in the corner. From here, it's just mostly to scout the depots. Maybe work towards a wall off as well, but that was not supposed to be a tech lab. That was supposed to just be a medevac. Tech lab doesn't slow it down too much. So you remember that 30-35 SCV timing? Well, here we are. Barracks 2 and 3. Gonna get a tech lab there. I'm gonna patrol this marine. Gonna get an engineering bay. Is that a real Phoenix?
Your add-on has been constructed.
Put everything into the medevac. Yeah, it's a bit late, but we'll get it out before it sees anything of too much consequence. Get these gases. And now this is the important part of the game.
The enemy engaged your forces.
He had adepts there. I'm gonna get just a couple turrets. Gonna get a second tech lab here. Start a tank. We saw he didn't have a third. Make sure I have another depot coming up. Drop a mule. Start stim.
This is an alert.
Build units.
No Knights was gifted one sub to
And
viewers.
Add-on is good to go. Add-on finished up. You picked that one?
a little messy, but
Forces under attack. The boys are next.
can get this out to the corner here. Definitely wasn't the cleanest drop, but it doesn't need to be. Key point.
This is an alert.
Smack while Joe
Plus
has
one.
gifted 10 subs to viewers.
Thank you, Joe. Gifting is the best form of love. Or, well, up there. I say, completely unbiased. So we saw a Twilight. We saw technically a Robo Bay, which is a little concerning. I'm gonna get a few turrets. There's an observer right there. Convenient to spot. Still building SCVs. Is that his third? We're gonna scan here. Another observer. Dropping supply, adding a third CC. But the thing is,
Your
I'm
research
about
is
to
complete.
reach a peak here, which is when I get combat shield and I have 2 medevacs. So, even though
Research is done.
I'm not
Your
like
forces
behind
are just a little
economically,
bit better.
it would be a waste to not at least put some pressure on it this timing. You don't want the Protoss to just be able to do whatever they want. Hey, we all know that. So, heading around this way.
Mineral
He's got a
field depleted.
disruptor, so keep that in mind. Gonna drop the Whittle Mine. This should keep him busy here. Get another couple Rax while I'm doing this.
Army under attack. Stim to win. Upgrade completed. Research completed.
Target the
Have we
disruptor.
learned anything?
This is why usually players will go for the
Field has been depleted.
Colossus first. I'm gonna go ahead and keep putting pressure on here. We can still attack before he gets
Not coming back.
the disruptor shot back. We're gonna target fire down the batteries. Target the disruptor. Make sure I'm building units throughout. SCVs.
Your army is under attack. The enemy engaged your forces.
Alright. And now the focus is on just following it up. Scan. I built a
You
couple
engaged the
liberators
enemy on
as
purpose,
well.
Command Center?
I don't think I mentioned that, but that is the reflex. Essentially, if as long as you have more than a couple medevacs, liberators are
You
usually
took
the
all
choice.
minerals from that cluster, you thief. Your add-on is all done.
Scanning for disruptors.
Mind out of that cluster. Instead
There's
of
one disruptor, but I'm so spread out here that like he's gonna have to shoot his own probes just to hit my units, which is obviously not great.
I've never seen this screen before. Wow.
Why do you have 40 workers on the natural? Better than having 20. Just means I'm ready to expand. But if I have the opportunity, like if he's pushed back and he doesn't have disruptors, so close. I knew it was a bit much, but 104. But I only have so much APM to go around. And knowing when you, like, if a Protoss sprints towards tech, you want to hit them before they can use it. If you can, like, if I have medevacs, I have stim, I have +1, I have tanks, I've got everything I'm going to get for a while. Unless there's an upgrade finishing or a new unit like Ghosts or a bunch of Liberators coming in, I've peaked. I only get linearly better. I don't get exponentially better. Whereas a Protoss with 5 disruptors is significantly more of a deal than a Protoss with 1, right? So, if I have, like, it's rare, it's usually rare, but if I have to focus my attention, I would rather focus on making sure I do as much damage as possible before he gets those extra disruptors or upgrades or whatever.
This is an alert.
Winter Gaming has gifted 1 sub to viewers.
How generous. But that was an example of just punishing a Protoss. Now, if I was to sit back and I knew he was going for the disruptors and just the heavy robo, then you sit back and you focus on more on liberators. Like 5 or 6 medevacs and then As many liberators you can put out there is the summary. I have a sub 2. Just hope this Protoss makes me go over 100 APM. Got a good chance.
One way or another, you got this.
The Widow Mine drop did what it was supposed to. The Widow Mine drop, honestly, it's less about getting it there immediately, and 2 about making it as annoying a threat as possible, which sometimes means waiting a while before you drop the mines. Ghosts are a better option against Archons, against Mass Charge Lot. Liberators aren't bad, but the Mass Charge Lot Archon or even Templar are much more mobile units that Liberators can't really deal with. Like, you still want Liberators eventually, but they're not really your first choice most of the time. It's better to have Ghosts. But if they're going Robo-Bay first, then Vikings or Liberators, depending on whether it's Colossi or Disruptors. 90% of the time it will be at least a couple Colossi to start, so you're usually pretty safe just going for a few Vikings, but he showed the Disruptor immediately, so. And for Protoss, I do not recommend Disruptor first, because then you leave yourself in the awkward position of not having to use it, essentially. He's chrono boosting a Zealot, which is
Army under attack. Stim to win. Command center upgrade.
interesting. So I built a, yeah, he's already got a Zealot coming across the map right now. We're gonna need a bunker. This is gonna get a little dicey, I think. Oh, and I didn't cancel. That's not ideal.
Forces under attack. The boys are next.
Wow, he pulled more.
Add-on complete.
If I finish the bunker, we're okay, but otherwise it's gonna be real annoying. I'm actually gonna scout again. He may just go for like the gold on this map.
Army under attack.
I smell a weird Protoss here. It's one of those. What did I get hit by? I got hit by something else. Already off to a weird start, but... Probe? Why is there another probe? The sheer amount of probes out here. Is pretty sus. Robotics facility. He is mining
CC
from that
upgraded,
second gas.
But at what cost?
We checked the gold though, and that was the most dangerous part. If he's just holding his zealots right outside, waiting for something, I'm trying to catch him now. I don't see anything. I'm actually gonna send a Marine out to the watchtower and to the gold here. Engineering bay, and yeah, there you go. I'm actually gonna get an armory for the mines. So the plan is send the medevac with, just send everybody out, and eventually We'll get there. But add
The enemy engaged
more
your
of
forces.
this on. What the hell is that? If he doesn't have a shield battery, we're in pretty good shape. So.
Your add-on has been constructed.
He's gonna need another observer down here. What a mess already.
Add-on finished up. You picked that one?
We're sending out multiple medevacs, which is not necessarily the ideal low APM choice. 2 more Rax. I depowered this.
Your army is under attack.
Send these into these bases. Send this home now.
Add-on is good to go.
Let's scan. No observer.
Your upgrade is complete.
So, what a mess. Oh yeah, I have an armory already. Get out of there. I technically already have 2 medevacs. I have a Widow Mine in each of his bases. It's a mess. But I'm actually select all army, click away this one, and let's attack the gold before we can go any
Forces
further
under
with this.
attack. The boys are next.
We also saw the Robo Bay he has, so
You took all the minerals from that cluster, you thief. CC upgrade done.
I'm just gonna take that
You engaged
third.
the enemy. Research complete. But have we learned mind out of that cluster? And
Stim's
still
almost
in
done, but that's
Nice.
irrelevant, I think.
the game? Research is done.
He already used
Your
recall
forces
as
are
well,
just a
so
little bit better.
a little bit of stutter step with the Marauders there. This is when you get Vikings. Ship weapons upgrade.
Research all done. Mineral pad is gone, and it's not coming back.
Plus
The enemy
2.
engaged your forces.
We've made him spend a lot of his time and energy on this. Need more Marauders if possible. I'm gonna build some depots for
Upgrade
zoning.
complete, but at what cost?
Build a turret as well. Armor upgrade. Yeah, he's still chilling over there. Chrono boosting. We might be able to catch a Colossus as well.
Add-on complete.
He recalled probes. I don't think there's any anti-air, so. That may have been a bit high. I had the right insight. Yeah. Yeah. I got carried away. I got upset at him for being a Protoss, which is just like a normal Terran reaction, I think. But so 5. God. You're so cheeky. The goal is 100, which we've made most of the games today, but that was not great.
This is an alert.
Crooks is now chilling.
Well, let's see if those who were begging got it. I don't think so. Probably a good thing.
This is an alert.
Can we find a
One of the enemies
Zerg?
gives
All
us
right, we've had
5
11
subs to
games
viewers.
with 0 Zergs. Okay. We're desperate. Where are the Zergs? PvT is the order of the day mostly, but if I get 1 Zerg, we can wrap it up. We've already got over 10 games. I was planning on 10 games each round, maybe a little bit more, but I try to keep these under 2 hours or so, just because, honestly, it's hard for me to focus on StarCraft, and I'm sure it's hard for you guys to focus on any sort of video or anything for 2 hours or more. Let's be honest here. Come on, you zoned out. Thank you, the professor. The professor has joined us. A Zerg on Data C. We're gonna finally get an
I'm sure it'll be
opportunity to
better
play
this
some
time.
Mech. I don't think it's TikTok attention span. I don't think humans, for the most part, are capable of paying close attention to anything for multiple hours in a row. Like, you gotta take breaks, you gotta reset. Honestly, probably less than that. But, of course, a StarCraft game is usually not multiple hours in a row. Which is good. But laddering for several hours, definitely. What I used to do when I was trying to be an actually somewhat good player, play for 2-3 hours, 10-15 games, then take a break. Either watch replays, yeah, actually. Watch a stream, or just completely don't bother for an hour or two, and then come back 10-15 more. Now, I know there's also been some proof that the literally just playing 12 hours a day straight with only a break for food and water for 12 minutes at lunch or something is also a method, but I doubt many of you are either inclined or capable of setting aside that sort of time, so. Because you're not 16-year-old Koreans. I mean, statistically, according to both YouTube and Twitch, it's unlikely you are 16-year-old
This
Koreans.
is an alert.
I feel confident
Cheese
in
Wiz
saying
117
that.
is
so.
now chilling.
But either way,
Your
Annyeong.
precious base. It took
감사합니다.
dozens of APM to build.
I don't know why you're watching me. I'm pretty sure there are better players, but
CC upgraded, but at what cost?
Alright, so we are going Reaper first. I should probably actually focus on the build instead of getting meta here, because this is possibly the only TVZ today. So, we're going Reaper Expand. I scouted. He went hatch first with gas pool, so probably speed. I got 1 Marine behind, and then I'm building a reactor after the factory. I'm going to do the cameraman Reaper. We'll just bounce between these bases now. You can do your creep spread if you'd like. And I'm actually going to do a 3cc build. 1, we're on Data C. Oh, that wasn't very nice. And 2, It's TVC. 3CC is the order of the day, especially if he's getting his third. I should be good to go.
Add-on complete.
Gonna get that factory, lay down the barracks there, starport next to it. Get Hellions as soon as possible. In fact, now let me have those
Your
creep
CC is
tumors,
now
I'll take them.
PCC, a better command center.
That was very kind. Second gas now. Once I get all the rest of my infrastructure building. Oh, he does have speed done. The Hellions are a little slow.
Your add-on is all done.
Alright. Some depots. We're gonna get a Viking. Move this away. 3 in gas. SCVs repair. Orbital here. And we're gonna get another gas. Viking is done. I like to hockey it, but also just queue it up to try to kill overlords on my side of the map.
Command
And
center
then
upgrade.
queue up to kill OVs around the map. Get this gas. I now have the wall and 6 Hellions. 6 Hellions is a solid number. Factories 2 and 3 now. Make sure I'm continuing to build Hellions. It's important to have that going on. We're actually going to start to build this wall off here. I'm just going to dive in. He seems to have gotten a little greedy. I'm going to get 2. We're going to move this over. Scan. He has a lair. I got to scan both. Baneling speed. He has 4 gases, though, so that leaves a lot of options open. Factories 4 and 5 here. He doesn't have a 4th, unless I didn't quite see it there. Get an engineering bay just in case.
Add-on finished up.
These gases. I'm gonna start 2 Thors. Because I'm not confident it's not Mutas. And I always love Thors. It's a good follow-up if you can get your 3rd base in a timely manner. Getting a turret in each mineral line as well. Notice this on the mini-map. He's got some speed banes, but... Fourth command center as part of a wall off. And I'm queuing up a tank behind.
Your add-on has been constructed.
Make sure we start blue flame. Get a sensor
Mineral
tower.
patch is gone, and it's
3
not
in
coming
gas. Smart servos. Hydras confirmed. So we focus more on the tanks and Hellbats, potential Hellbats. Get another CC. And now the focus is on determining when he tries to go for a hive. I'm not going to make the mistake of moving out. We'll just try to secure the 4th base. Because if he doesn't have a hive, I'm still in a decent spot tech-wise. If this is not a planetary, it gets a little dicier.
Upgrade complete, but at what cost?
So this is my most vulnerable moment. I'm gonna get a few turrets to help block.
Research finished, but I'm still waiting on high-sec auto-tracking.
Make sure we continue the upgrades.
Your upgrade is complete.
We have the sensor towers to see what angles he wants to try. Gonna make this an orbital.
Mineral field depleted.
And we're gonna send
Your
a few
command center
Hellions out
better than
here.
ever. Forces under attack. The boys are next.
Looks like he's gonna try this angle,
Your
which
base
is why we
under
walled it
assault.
off.
A mineral field has been depleted. Mind out of that cluster. And still in the game? Nice. CC upgrade done. You remembered.
He's got a hive and double lurker den. It's time. Ghost Academy, 3 Rex. We're gonna try to get some economic damage done. Getting some liberators here.
Army under attack. Stim to win. Base under attack.
Make sure this does
Time to
something.
engage the enemy. On purpose?
Can I not get blue flame? Oh. Looks like he moved everything back. Does he still have lurkers? Make sure we get cloak.
You're all mined out of that mineral field. You took all the minerals from that
For now,
cluster
I'm
you
just going to
beat.
use the liberators for putting on pressure.
Upgrades. Mineral field depleted.
Get some more command centers in the main. Engineering bay makes
Has been depleted.
basic defense upgrades.
The enemy engaged your forces. Research is complete.
I have literally no anti-air, which is awkward.
Mineral patch is gone, and it's not coming back.
+3.
Mind out of that cluster. And still in the game? Nice.
Make sure I target fire. Move forward.
Research finished.
He's got Vipers on the way. Spread the tanks out so we never get caught.
You're all mined out of that one.
He's got blinding cloud for every tank.
Forces under attack. The boys are next. Mineral field depleted.
Try to kill the base, which he almost killed with his own Vipers there. Not quite, but this is why we get the Ghosts as the counter to the Vipers. Pretty solid one. Alright, everybody, sit back there.
Your army is under attack.
Very bold Marine. This Liberator has 8 kills. This one has 5.
From that cluster, you thief.
I have the +3 armor. We're working on it. Gonna get the Shockwaves upgrade.
Army under attack. Stim to win. Cease. You engage the enemy. On purpose?
Make sure we have the gas. That's the most valuable. Oh, Swarm House. Or
A mineral.
we simply walk away.
An upgrade
Well, he has
completed.
enough to be annoying. Once those time out, we set up on the other
Mineral
side.
patch is gone, and it's not coming back. That Vespene geyser is depleted. The enemy engaged your forces. Research is done. Your forces are just a little bit better.
These will be orbitals, so I can drop more mules and have scans. Looks like he has no more anti-air there, so...
And still in the game? Nice. You're all mine. Forces under attack. The boys are next.
Alright, pull it back. Where are my engineering bays?
Mineral CC upgraded, but at what cost? Your add-on is all done.
I am maxed. He does see this. Just walk away. Hellbats are needed.
Army
Hellbats
under
at 3-3. You mean more like Hell Chads, really.
You took all the minerals from that cluster, you thief.
Because they are just far and away.
Has been depleted.
Throw the snipes out.
Upgrade complete, but at what cost?
Make sure this is what it needs to be. Let's see, can we snipe any more Vipers? Yep. How about another Swarm Host? Alright. Move the tanks on over. At this point, Hellions, Thors, and Ghosts. Tanks are a liability against the Swarm Hosts.
You engaged the enemy. CC upgrade done. You remembered. Your upgrade is complete. Out of gas at that geyser.
Yep.
Mineral patch is gone, and it's not coming back.
Auto repair here.
Your base is under assault.
Did I never get building armor? I don't think it matters too much. Oop, wrong key. Either way.
Mind out of that cluster. Still in the game? Nice.
I have scan and snipe on the same piece, so I have a tendency to overlap a bit.
I've never seen this screen before. Wow.
It may have been over. It was shaky. I tried to do everything because this was the first TVC we've had. I should have switched into just Thor Hellbat Ghost earlier. At some point, he actually did a good job. Many players will just, like, swarm hosts are a one-time use. Oh my god. Oh my god. It may have been over, he says. Ah! The professor here. I mean, he's been training against the AI for months. Okay. He's never played a ladder game in his life. All right, he's a papers please, considering he hasn't played a month. Let me let you in on a secret. If someone has 300 achievement points and they're playing in higher diamond, might not be their first go round. But I definitely that is the constant dilemma with this series. It's like I could intentionally hamstring myself more. But I don't think, well, that definitely at the end it takes some getting used to. I have a lot of practice with the Ghost, Thor, Hellbat style. But overall, it does take a lot of, like, you're going to fail. Your ghosts are going to die over and over. Like, the ghosts are the most important part by a large margin, but also the hardest to use. And this is why, to many people's confusion, because they're not able to think of things except as a 10 out of 10 or a 1 out of 10, I put them not as an S tier, but an A tier in essentially my low APM unit tier list guide. Because they are not, they're not easy to use, they're not easy to get a handle on, and do anything else.
This is an alert.
Overall. But they're
When your game
incredibly
has
good.
gifted
Even when
subs
they're
to
used
viewers.
kind of okay, they're insanely good. And when they're used well, they feel broken. Maru's ghosts are not S tier. They are several tiers above that you can't see or touch, or even comprehend. Now, rushing ghosts against Protoss and Zerg is perfectly fine. And is actually quite common. Many times players like Clem will go Ghost before an Armory for upgrades, because the Ghosts add a lot more damage than +1 attack, potentially. But it is definitely, like, it's something every Terran needs. I don't think it's required to get to Masters using Ghosts, but it doesn't make it any easier if you skip them. So, overall, I think for Terran players, the focus is, like, you get ghosts before you need them, but not necessarily rushing them. So against Zerg, this means if you realize you're going towards Hive Tech, especially if you're playing Mech, you need those ghosts to deal with Hive Tech. Bio also needs them, but you have a little more time before you have to pick a fight, because you can kind of run around, and ghosts are good against Hive Tech. Before that, they're not that required. Against Protoss, they're part of every balanced breakfast. They're part of every army that's over 170 supply. Otherwise, you're very open to, well, you're just missing out on a huge amount of damage. Against Terran, they're for nukes to troll your opponent. That's about it. That is the extent of it. That's their purpose. It's for EMPing their orbitals so they can't get mules or scans. Yeah, good luck. Have fun with that. But that is, I think we had some good games. That'll be the last game for this episode of Low APM Terran, at least today. Not that, like, if you're watching the live stream, that's not the end of the stream. A lot of people, my outros are too convincing. But I do think it was a somewhat decent representation of Diamond. We got about 7 different Terrans all doing barracks rushes, a few Protoss, and then a late game TVZ. So I don't think that's a misrepresentation of the latter. Some days are just going to be like that. Many days, I think. Maybe the mix of players will be different, but the styles will be similar. I will take some Terran questions from the chat just to wrap things. If I didn't cover anything and you're like, Winter, I have a specific question. Well, now's the time for the specific questions. Now, generally, what did we learn? Production timings. What about mines? Widow mines are good, but they're not particularly user-friendly. Like, I was using them in TVP, but against Zerg, I just prefer Mech at lower and higher levels. Against Terran, they're almost useless. They're not good as like an early harassment opener, except to maybe defend yourself against an all-in. Mines are not... They're mostly for killing probes at this stage. You can use them against Zerg for sure. I just find they backfire. Like, having a solid mech army is, in my opinion, more reliable. They're good with bio as well. If you're up against like a Massling Bane style, it's better than going tanks. But if they're going anything but straight up Ling Bane, if they're throwing any Lisks in there, tanks are better. I guess mutas mines also work well against, but it does suffer from the same issue of just maybe not catching up with them. I managed to reach Master 3 with 130 APM, 150. You can get Masters 1. I mean, it's not going to be easy. I think you could definitely win 52% of games, but maybe not 60. Banshees seem to be kind of hard to use or get value from. I think the best way to think of Banshees is like Void Race nowadays. You don't make a bunch of them. It's your spot defense. It's your option, or even like Oracles, where if you want to take your third a little more safely, or you think they're going to go for like a Roach all-in, pretty much just against Zerg. In the other matchups, a Raven is almost always better if you have a Tech Lab starport. So, but the Banshee is like high risk for medium reward kind of unit. What units are good for TVT? Ravens and tanks? Yeah, those are good. Marines, Medivacs, Vikings, and that's about it. That's the whole list. Maybe one Cyclone. Are unsieged tanks better against Cyclones? No. So, option 1 is they only have a handful of Cyclones. In which case, unless they're like dropping on your tanks, then there's no point. But and option 2 is they have mass Cyclone, in which case still better to be sieged, because at least that way you have a chance to hit them. Otherwise, they just slip and slide away. What options does Terran have against mass broods? Essentially, what I want you to do, if you're a Terran up against someone who's going Broodlords, I want you to make sure you're not up against Serral or Dark, okay? And if you're not up against Serral or Dark, Ghost Thor. If you are up against Serral or Dark, well, teach me how to play, so, because you're obviously better. I'm not being sarcastic. It is, like, it's not the Broodlords. The Broodlords are the bulldozer, but a bulldozer doesn't get anywhere without fuel of some sort. And in this case, the bulldozer doesn't get anywhere without infestors and vipers and queens and good creep spread and spore crawler micro. That's the thing. It's all this stuff under the hood that Dark and Serral are doing. Like the Broodling into Broodling micro, which is just both hilarious and ridiculous. Like you targeting your own broodlings to spawn more broodlings in just this cannibalization of micro. The ultimate free units. Yeah. If you're up against anyone who's trying to do that, I guarantee you they'll walk into your Thors and die. I guarantee you. Even Cyril up against someone like Cure still needs to spend 30 minutes of Broodlord micro, so just to whittle him down to nearly even. Part of the reason, by the way, I cast those games. I mean, I didn't know exactly how they ended, but I had my suspicions when I saw the length of the game. Is to show how hard it is to actually deal with the Thor Ghost. Like, Dark and the part of the reason Zerg is so strong is because Dark and Cyril exist. Is it the player or is it the game? I don't know. Ask Raynor. How many Broodlords per Thor? As many as possible. The number for those Uber Zergs seems to be around 25 to 30 total. So, which sounds like a lot, and it is. It's not cheap, it's not easy, but otherwise you just get whittled down. You need nearly 100 or more than 100 supply Broodlords. But also, we're talking about Terran. Well, I've pretty much told Terrans, like, build Thors. You'll probably be fine. What other strategy games do you play? I like to play the strategy. One of my favorite strategy games is kind of turn-based. It depends sometimes. It's when I ask Twitch chat to ask me questions about StarCraft. How long will it take them to not ask StarCraft-related questions? And usually I try to predict, like, usually it's a couple minutes, but I'm usually on target. Do you make Marauders in TVT? Pretty much against Mech. Are bunkers worth it? Yes, asterisk. All static defense is there to buy time for your army. It is not the defense in and of itself. Even bunkers. Like, in the early game, bunkers against Protoss are to ward off those early gateway units. Like putting a bunker at your third to defend against charge lot run-bys or Zerglings. But don't expect, like, you don't build bunkers to stop the army. You build bunkers to slow it down. That is, when next time you watch a pro match and you watch them build bunkers, think about that and think about what they're trying to accomplish with it. All right. Well, I thought this was a productive day. I showed about half a dozen different ways to stop early cheese in TVT. Had a few TVPs and the Professor in Terran versus Zerg. So hopefully you have a similar ladder experience. Or maybe, hopefully not. I don't know either. Whichever one's better. But we're now solidly in the Diamond League with the low APM Challenge Terran. Make sure to check out the full playlist. We got a playlist for each race individually if you're going to be discriminatory. Or just all of them if you're more egalitarian. Thank you for watching. And also check out the second channel. I think by this point, the time you see this, we've started putting... I'm putting ladder games and other games, like even StarCraft, on my second channel, Winter Gaming. I just have... Like, when you stream 6+ hours a day, you can't post that all to YouTube. Or at least, YouTube doesn't like it. So... thank you for watching. Good luck, have fun. I hope I made your day, a significant chunk of it, a little bit better. See you next time. Stay chill.